Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Catherine Robertson. I am an author, a mom, and an educator. I currently have 3 children's chapter books out that are geared through ages 5 through 10, and a 4th one coming out August 1st. I also have been working on getting my first adult cozy mystery up and ready, and I'm hoping to have that one out in October. Fingers are crossed. So here's the deal. As far back as I can remember, I have been a creative person. I love to read and write and get lost in worlds that are not my own. I'm also a huge science nerd. It's what I studied in college, it's what I got my master's in, and I love learning about science and the world around us and how it impacts us. That's so exciting to me. So when I saw a book on Amazon that said it could boost your creativity, my interest was piqued. You see, I just finished editing my first cozy mystery and I'm getting ready to start writing the second one. I have a vague idea also for a book of mini mysteries for my next children's chapter book. And with all those ideas, there comes a certain amount of nervousness. What if I used all my creativity on the first book? What if I can't come up with good ideas for the second book? What if my mini mysteries and my short stories turn into kind of bland, blah stories? What if I can only create good ideas once? And I think every author goes through this, every creative person goes through this. None of us want to have like a sophomore slump book or have, a piece of art that wasn't as good as the first one. So in an effort to procrastinate on my writing, and in an attempt to get started on this new project, I decided to do some scientific research. I wanted to find scientifically proven ways to boost creativity. So I started Googling, searching for scientific articles especially, not just opinions, and found pretty much nothing. There were some bits and bobs about, but generally there isn't a whole lot of actual scientific research into creativity. This is because creativity is incredibly hard to measure. It is usually self-reported data, which tends to be a little bit more unreliable. And it's kind of like when the dentist asks you how often you floss. Like, people are like, yeah, I floss every single day, and they don't. Most of the information on how to boost creativity is done through comparison of famous routines. So like comparing your author routine to a well-known author, and whatever field you're in. So if you're a musical composer, it's comparing to like Beethoven or Mozart, or an artist, it's like comparing your day to Picasso. And that is certainly one way to do it, and that's certainly one way that I've seen a lot. I love watching that, like, I tried writing like routines, and it's one of my favorite things to watch on YouTube. And it's interesting to see how different creative people truly work. And I do want to dive into this more at a later date because it does have value. But for the purpose of this video, I wanted to look at just the scientific research and what the scientific research says about creativity. So first off, what is creativity? Well, the standardized definition, as described by Mark A. Runco, a PhD, on the American Psychological Association website, says that creative ideas are original and effective. Not a great definition for study and measurement. And scientists agree, they don't know what an actual definition for creativity will be. But brain scientists have noticed that there are 2 different pathways to creativity that they see in the brain. There is type 1 and type 2. They're real original names. Type 1 is kind of your light bulb moments. It's your aha moments. It's the spark of inspiration, the thing that you see in your mind's eye as you're drifting off to sleep. And that is just your brain just lighting up with this new and novel idea. Type 2 is a little bit more skill-based. So it is practicing the skill that you want to accomplish. And both these pathways work interchangeably. You need to have both pathways. The skill part is a little bit more of what we can actually practice when it comes to creativity. The flashes of inspiration, scientists are still trying to figure out. So here's what we know. In a French psychiatry article published in 2022, they found that a natural environment can actually help to boost creativity because it distracts our minds from work, and nature sounds actually can improve the diversity in your creative ideas. In an American Psychological Association article in 2009, so a while ago, about the science creativity, there was a great piece about the value of routine creativity. So their suggestion for inspiring creativity included keeping a notebook with you wherever you go, seeking out problems with no clear solution. So trying ideas that you haven't seen tried before. The importance of collaboration with others in your field, the value of sleep, and getting sunlight, which of course ties into the natural environment. Usually if you're outside, you're getting some sunlight, especially if it's summer. In a 2021 TED Talk by Stephen Coulter, he talked about the role of the anterior cingulate cortex of the brain, otherwise known as the ACC. This area is the area that's activated by a new problem. It prompts the brain to automatically go to outside of the box thinking. This is part of the reason why children tend to be so innately creative, is because they do not have a filter on their brain on the ACC that prevents them from being creative. And so they come up with really unique ideas. Coulter also talks about the importance of good mood, mindfulness, and gratitude and their role in assisting the ACC. And finally, he talks about non-time. And non-time is basically what he says is when you have no other pressing concerns. You use this non-time, you're free of chores, responsibilities, or tasks. You're not being a mom, you're not being a teacher, you're just doing your creative task. Non-time needs to be alone. So you don't add any distractions by having someone around and asking you questions. And Coulter actually recommends getting 90 to 120 minutes of non-time per day, preferably in the morning before the rest of the day starts. Kind of like Stephen King and a lot of other writers who say that like boredom is important for you to be able to write. And unfortunately, that's kind of it on the actual scientific research. Again, there wasn't much. A lot of people have written books on creativity, but more often than not, they aren't based on science. They're more based on anecdotal evidence, so what people have reported. And again, creativity is incredibly hard to quantify. You can't study it in a way that necessarily measures it unless you're hooking people up to machines, which is costly. So what does it mean for me? And what is the goal of this video? I'm going to be combining some of these ideas for 5 days to see if this helps boost my creativity and helps me outline and come up with ideas for my books. My overarching goal for the next 5 days is kind of to get a loose plot for the adult cozy mystery and to do some writing on the mini mysteries for kids. And here's the 3 things that I'm going to do to boost creativity, taken of course from the scientific articles. So here are the 3 things that I'm going to try and do this week for 5 days. First, I'm going to write outside. Again, that's one of the biggest things that I saw in my research was writing outside really helped improve creativity. Second, I'm going to start each day with a gratitude journal and I'm going to write what I'm thankful for. Then I'm going to stop my writing at strategic points to either take a breath, take the dog for a walk, just be outside and just calm my body and really focus on that mindfulness practice. Finally, I'm going to spend 90 minutes to 120 minutes, but we're going to try for 90, without my cell phone, without technology, and by myself per day. I don't really plan on using my phone other than to record or a camera to record. And if I write on a device at all, if I actually do any writing, it will be either like with my FreeWrite typewriter that doesn't have internet or by hand. I will have to do this after my toddler has gone to daycare because there's no way I could do it while he's at home. So I can't do it first thing in the morning, but I will do it as soon in the morning as possible. And I will try to keep that routine. So if I'm doing it starting at 9 and going from 9 until 10:30, that's the time that I'm really going to focus on doing it for the next few weeks. I'm going to drive this for 5 days and see what I can get done. My goal is to have as controlled the conditions as possible. Again, this is not scientific research. This is based on scientific research, but it's anecdotal evidence. So what works for me in the scientific study, for lack of a better word, is just a shot in the dark, basically. My idea is really just I have creative things that I want to get done. And the best way for me to do them is going to be to use science, hopefully, to help me achieve them. So, yay. We'll see how this goes. I think the hardest part for me is going to be getting the 90 minutes of uninterrupted time, because my brain, I am someone who jumps around to things a lot, and like if there's a chore to get done, I will for sure try to do it before I'm writing. Just because my mind's like, oh, I need to go fold the laundry, or oh, I should go pick up the playroom. Like, that's just how my brain works. So I think that's going to be the trickiest part for me with this challenge, but we're going to see. I'm going to record every day, and then I will post a video at the end that has kind of my thoughts on it. So here's hoping.